Hey, what is up, guys? Welcome back to Northcountry Off Grid. I know you guys can't smell it right now, but my beard smells like Fruit Loops. I got some new beard oil and it is just delicious. But we're not talking about that today. We are talking about preparedness today, being prepared. Guys, in Eyes on November, I think in all prepper communities, I think in all of the survivalist communities, all of the people who are paying attention, everyone is eyes on November. We're all looking at November as basically this wall, this point, this destination that we are getting to, where I think many of us believe we are going to see absolute chaos no matter what the outcome is of the elections. If you're new to the channel, guys, hit the subscribe button and hit that thumbs up. Help us share the videos, get them out there. Make sure that you get these videos to people who you think they might benefit, right? We want to be able to help educate people, maybe get people to look in the directions that we are looking, and be prepared for what's coming down the line. So November elections, guys, obviously leading up to the elections, we have been seeing an increasing amount of violence, an increasing amount of terrorism here in America, which we don't get to see a lot of. This is not something that we are used to. What we are seeing in this country is something that we have seen in many other countries who are trying to destabilize the government / overthrow the government /
the revolution, baby.
So the increasing amount of violence, guys, we are now watching people kill people in the streets. We've gone from breaking windows to burning buildings, to beating people in the streets on camera, to targeting people and killing them outright, just because of a hat they're wearing or a patch they have on or whatever, right? We identified somebody as a Trump supporter, and now he's dead. It's pretty insane what we're seeing, but what we are seeing essentially is the beginning steps to civil war. The civil unrest is here. The sides are defined, and it is now leading into civil war. Now, there's a lot going on in politics. If you're paying attention, there's a lot of narrative being laid down. What happens is they get to speaking in a certain way, and all they're doing is repeating themselves. They're laying down the road work for the end destination, the end goal. And what you're seeing actually from both sides, which is kind of odd. And no matter what side you support, if you're not into the violence part of everything taking place, you should be worried about the narrative, the way that everyone's laying the groundwork. And what we're seeing from both sides is we're seeing that narrative of accusing the other side of already rigging or stealing the elections. So what that is telling us is both sides are not going to accept the outcome of the elections. Now, we've seen political figures warn people. Hillary Clinton was warning Biden to not accept if he loses. Generally in the elections, whoever loses will call and they will say, hey, I recognize that you have won this election, congratulations, boom, right? It's sort of a tradition / a protocol in which they handle the election. The other side basically acknowledges that the other side has won. We are seeing them already talk about how Trump is already stealing the election, or B, Trump is not going to step down if and when he does lose the election. We're seeing the right talk about how the left is going to rig elections with the mail-in voting. But we're seeing them both play the same game. They're both preparing to not accept a loss in the upcoming election. And guys, no matter what side you support, no matter what side I support, I do not support anything that takes place that is unconstitutional from either side. So if one, and this is speculation, guys. A lot of this is speculation, and we got to look at it, and then we got to prepare for if this possibly happens. And some of it is so far-fetched, but we're in 2020, so we have to remember that anything goes. Absolutely anything is possible in 2020. Nothing is off the table. Likely scenarios, unlikely scenarios, everything is possible in 2020. With that, we are seeing that people are saying, oh, if Trump loses, he won't leave the White House. He won't step down. Now, if our election systems are rigged, which who knows if they're rigged, right? Who knows if voting matters, right? But if somebody loses, if Trump was to lose and refuse to step down, that is an issue for both sides. That is an issue from the left. That is an issue from the right. To have a president not accept his loss and try to stay in office or force his reign, that's unacceptable, right? That doesn't matter. But what we're looking at is basically them, both sides saying that the elections are corrupt, the elections are rigged, the elections aren't going to count. Like, no matter what the outcome is, it's not legitimate. That's very dangerous from both sides, guys. Now, what that tells me, what I see taking place, is both sides lining up to fight over the outcome of the elections. That causes war. That causes war outright. That is the beginning of civil war. You will have, what do you have? What takes place if you have a sitting president who loses office but refuses to accept it? What do you have? A dictatorship now? Who does he have to force his hand to get to stay in office? He would have to have military backing. He would have to have backing from the generals. What if the elections were just such a debacle? I mean, such a debacle, but that the process of elections in this country is basically gone because no one accepts the legitimacy of how we do it. We don't accept elections anymore. It's a very weird scenario that's coming down the line, guys, but the biggest thing that we're seeing leading up to it is the fact that increased violence, increased narratives. We're seeing it. We're watching the violence increase. We're seeing, in a big part of it, and we won't go into it in this video. Maybe we'll go into it in the next video. But we are seeing what could be, and I hate to put it out there. And it's not like I'm the only person that thinks of it, but I hate to put out this narrative and then maybe it sparks in anyone's head. I guess I'll do it. I'm not going to assume that I'm the smartest guy out here. We are seeing what could be the possible key to revolution in this country, and that is the targeting and the hunting of law enforcement. Law enforcement in this country is an issue. Order followers are an issue. What we have seen in the last little bit is we have seen people speak out against police. We have seen people openly attack police. We have seen people resist federal police. We have heard of street gangs coming up with packs to shoot police on sight when they see them take the life of a black man in America. And we have seen police, again, we've seen it before, but we have seen police gunned down in the streets in their patrol car simply because someone chooses to take their life. And this is the key point, guys, and we won't hit on it too much, but this is the key point, is the violence is escalating. And if the violence escalates into assassinating law enforcement no longer is this cushy job where you outnumber the people that you go and deal with. You are no longer able to call for backup and have 10 guys with guns show up. That's not scary anymore because the other side, the opposition, is now hunting you and they are actually taking your life intentionally. And there's a whole line of ramifications behind that, guys. There's a whole slew of scenarios that come from that. But the biggest key is law enforcement is greatly outnumbered in this country, and it only takes... this dog ruining my shot. Captain, get out of the shot, man. It only takes a little bit of motivation for people to understand and realize that they have the upper hand on law enforcement. We sit and we let law enforcement do this stuff, and we ask for their permission to stop doing it, right? Like we ask to be free. We ask them to recognize our rights. We ask them to not violate us. But there's going to come a point where the asking is done, and law enforcement's going to realize that they have been doing it wrong for too long. The violating of civil rights and following orders is going to get them exactly where they deserve to be, because it's going to cause a revolution in this country that we are seeing coming, in which law enforcement is going to be the target. And when that time gets here, they're either going to stand together, them, law enforcement on their own. They're either going to circle the wagons to protect themselves, or many are going to flee to preserve themselves. And you're going to see that in the land of order followers, you're going to see the self-preservation, because order followers are already self-preserving. They're violating your rights. They're abusing people for their paycheck, for the greater good of their family. But unfortunately, I think those actions, those times are coming to an end. And I think that law enforcement in this country is going to change. And I think that it's going to take a kind of violent revolution to make that happen. And if assassinating law enforcement, like we saw just take place, starts to catch on, and you start to see it more and more and more, it doesn't take much, guys. It's literally throwing a match onto fuel and just watching it go. There only needs to be a small battle, a quick, fast opposition against law enforcement, and the whole stack of cards comes down. Whether or not that happens, I don't know, but what I see is us leading ourselves there. Society is leading us there, right? We are leading ourselves there due to our political system. We have driven it to that point. So guys, that is going to be it for this video. We'll hit on the law enforcement and the revolution thing on another video here coming up. But basically, I want to put this out there. Eyes on November, guys. You should be prepping still. Everybody should have never let their foot off the gas. I know that we kind of got into like this weird lull where we were basically watching the chaos on TV after the whole COVID lockdown, the great toilet paper race of 2020. Once the stores sort of stocked shelves again, I think a lot of people sort of let off the gas and they stopped preparing. Guys, we need to continue to prepare. You need to continue to get food. You need to continue to figure out how to be self-sustainable, because November is coming. Elections are coming. Chaos is coming. Vaccines are coming. We are told to expect vaccines in November. Extremely convenient that they are able to have the foresight of knowing when they're going to create a brand new vaccine and be able to treat this virus on the same month as elections. Yet we're still battling other viruses. We can't figure them out. But we nailed this one. We were able to get a vaccine lined up come November. So extremely convenient, guys. But you should be worried about it. If you're not worried about it, you're not worried about it. If you're going to take the vaccines and comply and do everything that they want you to do, then this video isn't for you. If you're one of the many people who draw the line at vaccines, forced vaccines in this country, then this video is for you. You should still be getting food. You should still be getting water. You should still be getting toilet paper. You should still be getting bullets. You should still be getting medical. Absolutely everything that you and your family are going to need for an extended period of time, just in case this thing rolls into a full-on civil war here in this country.